Welcome to the Anton Stetner podcast. Today we're going to be talking about catching arsonists.
Dun, 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 dun.
Because you actually caught, well, you didn't catch them, but the law caught the person that burns your house.
I actually think social media caught the arsonist. We were blessed. There was a business across the alley. Their cameras were pointing directly at it. As the suspect lit the property on fire, they literally walked down the street, like right in full view of the camera.
Yeah. Sounds like what happened in Mangione in New York, right? Like he was like flirting with the hotel host. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit what happened?
Yeah.
What
okay,
happened
yeah.
and then what's going on now?
So my phone rings a whole bunch, Wednesday morning of last week. One of them is Tony, and Tony never calls. My partner never calls that much. And so pick up the phone. He said, hey, by the way, there was a fire. One of the properties burned completely to the ground, new construction. It damaged the other new construction house next to it. It damaged the house in front of it, so 3 that we specifically own, and then started melting the neighbor's property. After I went back and read reports, thank God there was an awesome neighbor that went and pounded on the other neighbor's door and was like, hey, there's 40, 50-foot flames over there. Get out of your house. And then, like I was saying, the suspect fled the scene as the flames are starting to come out of one home and ran right by the camera. So we put it out on social media. All these news outlets put it out on social media. And the suspect was found in the exact same clothes with a lighter.
Later that day or
within hours later that day. So the Everett Police Department did a phenomenal job. This happened approximately at the 1900 block there in Lombard. And one of the neighbors was like, I was so shocked. It was just this little fire. And all of a sudden there's 50-foot flames in the air. And so now his name is Joseph Wade Smiley Jr. He's a real amazing citizen. And so I was like, oh, okay, let's start to look into who this is. Joseph Smiley has been arrested. This is his 34th arrest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know where you're going with this.
And he's got a long criminal history, including 3 felonies and 20 gross misdemeanors. And Smiley had just been released from prison in November and then was arrested again in January. And so I was like, okay, well, what was he arrested for in January? Let's go pull his police report. So I pulled a police report from the Edmonds Police Department. Guess what he was arrested for?
Was one of them arson?
Reckless burn, number 2. So once again, don't know what that means. Maybe reckless burn, the 2nd degree. Malicious mischief, 3. And violating the outdoor burning ban. And so he was just arrested in Edmonds on January, and his court date was January 13th in Edmonds for burning something. Like, come on. So I got a lot of comments, friends, family, social media. Are you angry? No, I'm not angry. Like, I went through the phases of grief. The first one is, yes, I'm totally pissed off and just what in the world? But then after I worked through the phases of grief, I'm just annoyed. I'm annoyed at the lawlessness of our state and that we're constantly allowing the repeat offender to do something. Part of my brain, remember from when we were kids, that kind of 3 strikes you're out? Mm-hmm. Well, he's already got his
30.
It's 3 strikes was the felony one. So he's already got the 3 strikes. And now, of course, he's facing larceny 1, burglary 2, theft 3, and mail theft. I don't know why there's mail theft on this one from the Everett Police Department. And what I look at here and what I think about is this idea of why is Washington State, a more progressive state, a more liberal state, allowing this consistent lawlessness to progress? And it's gotten to the point where even Ferguson, our governor, that won, had to campaign on this idea of getting crime under control. But the whole time he was the governor, he was soft on crime. So it was kind of very interesting that all of a sudden he was changing his tone because the whole country was kind of changing its tone. He was due to appear before the judge on Thursday, and magically he just didn't appear. So his bail set at $150,000, and the judge ordered him not to possess anything that could light a fire.
So he's clearly, what do you call it? Somebody that's addicted to burning things?
I don't know what that's
Actually,
called.
come on.
Yeah, what is that called?
I forgot. There's a term for it.
Well,
Arsonist, I guess, is like the legal.
Yeah. Here's what we do know. He's a transient. He's missed multiple court things for being in detox. So there's transient, there's drugs, and unfortunately, arson and other, misdemeanors. He admitted to the police he had a lighter at the construction site, but denied entering the home despite the surveillance footage showing him going in. And the investigators believe, kind of like we were thinking, that he just set fire to the leftover scraps because the plumber had just finished. Like the plumber had just finished, the scraps were sitting there. So he had like a prime target for that. In Edmonds, he also didn't appear. So like at what point do you go, hey, you're not appearing before the judge. You've got 3 felonies. This is your 34th conviction. Is this time to do something a little bit more drastic? No. I want to go to the other side, just the compassionate human side. Holy cow, what's happened in this person's life that they're in their mid-20s and they're massively addicted to drugs, and their brain tells them it's okay to just go around and light things on fire, and that they're bouncing in and out of the system. I went and looked and said, okay, well, he was arrested in Everett. He was arrested in Edmonds. And I was like, let's just go back a little further. Well, right before that, he was also arrested here in Marysville for some other activity. So this individual, unfortunately, is just a repeat offender. Something has gone wrong in their life, drugs and addiction. And also part of the system is failing them. This could also be a mental health issue. I personally think we don't have a large enough mental health budget, and that's what contributes to the homelessness and the drug addiction. But there's basically our quick update. We did meet with the insurance people and started that whole arduous process. And they started asking for, budgets, bills that have been paid. They started asking for copies of receipts, proof of work, things like that, which is all what we expected. What I didn't expect is that all of a sudden they show up with their own fire investigator. They show up with their own team of experts. Like someone's going to come by and check the structures. Someone's going to come by and check the accelerants and the different types of fire that burned there and how did it burn. Someone's going to come by and look at the concrete and inspect the concrete from an engineer's perspective to make sure parts of the concrete weren't damaged.
Show them the tape.
Yeah, show them the tape. They actually don't care that the tape exists. They do their own independent investigation. We were talking with them, really interesting, because I guess fire is such a common cause of insurance fraud that regardless of a police investigation ongoing or not, they do their own investigation to, to try to prevent that fraud in the future. So as usual, we'll keep all of you updated. But for now, this menace to society in our lawless Washington state has been arrested but didn't bother to show up.